Join us on a captivating journey as we explore the charm, history, and vibrant culture of Wilkes County. Discover the hidden gems, inspiring stories, and remarkable people that make Wilkes a place worth knowing and celebrating. Join us now and experience the unique essence of life in Wilkes.
Dr. Rodgers, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Carl. Appreciate the time to be here this morning, and just look forward to getting to know the great folks of Wilkes, or the great state of Wilkes, as they say.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it is a great state because, land mass. Yes. It's not because of population.
That's right.
It's because of land mass. So we got a lot of land. Uh-huh. There's a little zip code, just a little trivia for you, little zip code down in Ronda, North Carolina, which is part of Wilkes County, right? But it's down closer to Elkin, which a piece of that is in Wilkes County as well. But the zip code in the little small post office there serves a landmass larger than any other zip code in North Carolina.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
That's what I said. And then I said, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Well, if it's not the biggest, it's close to the biggest." And I think that epitomizes things we would say in the Carolinas. I thought you were from Kentucky. I was looking at the background of when you were interviewed to have the new position at Wilkes Community College as a president. And I said, "Oh, he's from Kentucky." And then we looked a little bit, South Carolina's there. But you were actually born in the Carolinas.
Yes, sir. I was born in the Carolinas. Born and raised in South Carolina. Right. And about 13 years ago, moved to Kentucky. Took a position at Owensboro Community and Technical College in Kentucky, and the rest is history. Been there for 13 years, enjoyed it. Had a good opportunity, good mentors there, but also had the same opportunity when I was in South Carolina 10 years before that. So been in higher ed for 23 years, and now looking forward to this next chapter at Wilkes Community College. Very excited.
Let's talk about that for a moment. The value of community college, what it means to a community, looking at your past background, things that you've learned, the what I like to say, some of the practical applications of the disciplines from automotive to the mechanical thing, all of the things that we have people that like having those type of jobs, right? So let's talk about why that's important in providing this type of education to a community.
So, education is a great equalizer. Doesn't matter if it's a high school diploma, 2-year education, or 4-year education. But an education is a great equalizer. When you see a prosperous community, you think about an educated community. You think about a healthy community. And Carl, you said it. When you think about Wilkes Community College and any other community or community and technical college out here across the great nation, community's in our name. We're destined to serve. We're designed to serve. And we're an open-door institution. So no matter what your aspirations or what your goals, you can start with us and you can get anywhere. And that is evident right here in Wilkes County. Wilkes Community College not only serves Wilkes County, but it also serves, as you know, Ashen and the great folks here watching and listening, Ashen, Allegheny as well. Right. So we serve a group of people that they need us, and they need a skill set. There's great demand for high wage or great. There's high wage, high. Let's go back a minute. There's high wage, high demand jobs out there in the skilled trades market.
Right.
And when we look at the skilled trades market, the students coming out now, they can create their own path. They can create their own destiny. They can work for someone else. They can work for themselves. It's just when you look at Wilkes County alone, the entrepreneurial base, you look at the number of HVAC service companies, electrical service companies, plumbers, and the need is there. And when we look at taking a student, and Carl, I don't know about you, but when I came in, we'll back up to my background a minute. I graduated from a 4-year college. I went to the University of South Carolina. Got a chemistry degree. Started out at their Aiken campus. Completed my chemistry degree and decided that I wanted to go back to school immediately. So
you were ready to learn more.
I was ready to learn more. Most people thought, though, that would be a master's degree and on to a doctorate at that time. Mm-hmm. But some people say I did it backwards, and I say I did it my way. I went to Piedmont Technical College in South Carolina, where I wound up teaching for 10 years. But I went there and got my associates.
Okay.
And then I went back and got my higher ed leadership certificate at the University of South Carolina.
Were you deciding what you wanted to do as you were going through that process?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And when you think about a student coming into community college, a lot of it is a path of exploration. Mm-hmm. We have to give them a foundational skill set, and then we start out just like a funnel, and we start out, and here's what we have to offer you. And we really and truly pare that down as we get to know the student. And sometimes that's through a series of questions, through advising. But I call it a relationship. We build that relationship with that student. So when they graduate with a certificate, diploma, or an associate's degree, when they leave us, they know that they can always come back for retraining and retooling. Let's say we have a welder completes a certificate and they go to work at an industry here in Wilkes County or industry in Ashe or Allegheny County. And when they go to work, they see over a period of time, hey, you know me, I kind of like this management thing. I kind of like this supervisor thing. And I know my supervisor's wanting to move up the ladder or maybe retire one day. Well, what do I need to do to take his role? Well, a lot of it's experience, but sometimes I need additional skills. Maybe I need some business skills. I need to be business savvy. So they can come in after they've been working with that certificate. They can come back to us, get that diploma or degree, and just
keep on going.
They climb that ladder.
It's a stacking, right? The stacking effect.
Stackable credentials.
Right.
And let's say they achieved that 2-year degree. Well, those transfer. And you think about our transfer agreements that we have. We've got a great school. Everybody knows App State right up the road. So a lot of our programs will transfer there. So when you can build stackable credentials, you can take a student from wherever they are. You meet them where they are, and you can take them where they want to be. That's the purpose of a community college, serving that community, serving the business and industry. Business and industry comes to us on our workforce development, community education side, and they say, hey, we need these skills. What can you provide for us? They don't just come to WDC or workforce development, community education. They also come to the instruction side. But we're facilitating programs to meet their needs.
And so you can customize?
We can customize.
Okay.
We can customize on the workforce development side. And we also make sure that our curriculum staying relevant within the realms of what the North Carolina Community College System curriculum is laid out. But we can ensure that the relevancy is there. So when a student graduates, they understand the latest and greatest and when they go into work.
Let's break this down a bit. So I hear what you can provide. Mm-hmm. But I think what a lot of people care about most is what kind of a job they can get and how much money they can make.
That's correct.
So those steps of entry, getting in with the basic foundation and with these stackable certificates, if you will.
Yes.
The learning module, okay, you're stacking because you're learning something. If you learn something, you can earn more money.
Correct.
Right? So what does that look like from someone from the entry level to getting the next level and the next level? How does that increase that earning opportunity?
So, when you look at, and I'm going to give you average numbers because I'm 10 days on the job. Right. Be honest, 10 working days on the job today. But when you look at the high school graduate coming out and then they complete that associate's degree, you think somewhere between an $8,000 and a $10,000 pay differential from a high school diploma to an associate's degree. And that's all relative based on the skill set. We know that. The last plumber I hired after hours was a $225 per hour service charge, okay? You think about that, you do the math, Carl. Right. I mean, it's you make a lot of money. But as we look at, and to answer your question, as we look at our programming, there's a pathway to those stackable credentials. But those pathways also show the pathway to the workforce. Here's where these skills lead to. And that's only through engaging the community and saying, hey, what degrees fit, what skills fit your organization, or what skills fit your business and industry. You know, you mentioned earlier, you said it, so I'm going to repeat it. There's some folks that, you know, says, you know, hey, the new president, he's a little different. He's out in the community. He's talking around. He's looking.
He's already out there talking.
And I'm not only out in the community, but I'm also in the office, roaming around the campuses, looking around all three of our sites. And main campus at 1327 Collegiate Drive, but also the Ash campus and the Allegheny campus. We've got hidden gems. And I need to know what those hidden gems are. But I also have to be engaged in the community. The basis to our success is relationships. I don't care what business you're in. It's a relationship with the student, a relationship with the community, a relationship with the faculty and the staff. I want these folks to know that we're here to serve them. I'm here to serve them. And my door is always open. So as day one, I started building those relationships. You can even back up from February, March, April, and May. I was in the community making some transitional visits to the college and learning the community, but also learning the people and getting to know the people. But I want them to get to know me. You know, I want them to be comfortable to come in and say, hey, can you help us with this? But I also want them to be comfortable if I come in and say, hey, I need some advice. What do you think about this?
Nice.
And we've got to work together. We've got to continue working together. If we're going to grow, if we're going to continue growing, you think about what Wilkes County did with North Wilkesboro Motor Speedway when they brought it back.
Sure.
They worked together to do it. It was a collaborative project. And as we're going to grow here at Wilkes, as we're going to grow in Ash and we're going to grow in Allegheny, we're going to have to do it collaboratively. I was talking to Mark Bird yesterday. You know Mark, superintendent of Wilkes County Public Schools. And you know, we talked about relationships and the sound relationship that you mentioned Jeff Cox earlier. Jeff Cox, Gordon Burns, they had a strong relationship with the school systems in all three of our counties. I want to continue that strong relationship. And I want to reach out and make sure that we're in their schools. We continue to be in their schools, serving their students. But how can we work together? We can't be everything to everybody. But what can we be in working together? We can be the best at what we are doing.
So is the idea to find those common threads and work together and always be open for seeing the new common threads?
Yes. I call it looking around the corner.
Right.
You know, if you're looking at a common thread, what do we have in common? What do we have not in common? But how can we grow and make everybody stronger? We're stronger together more than we are separately. Sure. So as we find those common threads, we can figure out how we can leverage resources, how we can support each other through the processes, and we can always be there for the community.
Let's talk about that preparedness, because there are different things. The foundation, you've got that covered, right? Mm-hmm. We know what to do there. However, industries change.
Absolutely.
Technology changes.
Absolutely.
You know, I've been doing stories for years with manufacturers and watching the robotics evolve. I was down at in Greenwood, South Carolina, with Fuji World.
Yes.
And seeing all these things that are electronically done now, that people, they're remarkably absent. I mean, there are people, but so many things are done robotically now. So is that part of the process? Because you've got all these funnels, but there's the stream of people. I think that's constant, right? So that's always there. But the need is always tweaking. So here's my question. Are you, the college system itself, staying on tune with what's going on? Or are you being reactive to what manufacturers are saying? Or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination. I would go on to say that the only thing constant in our world is change.
Okay.
Because the stream of people is only there if you have something to serve them that's relevant. Okay?
Right.
Broad statement, but we have to remain relevant. And that's the question you're asking.
Sure.
Ultimately. How do we remain relevant? We remain relevant by engaging our community or engaging our business and industry through advisory boards, through community meetings, through our workforce development meetings, through individual conversations, through industry tours. Our faculty and staff are engaged. Do you understand how an advisory board works?
I do.
Okay, so when we have an advisory board that's built of business and industry, they come in and look at our curriculum. It's truly the community and the business and industry's curriculum. We just get to facilitate it. And when they come in and look and they say, hey, we're adding this technology, what can you do to help us to make sure the students are trained and skilled on that? A lot of that is upgrading the equipment. So a lot of that is if you choose to upgrade the equipment, well, guess what? You've got to make sure your faculty are also up to speed. So you have to invest in the equipment, you have to invest in the professional development, and you have to invest in the technology and the infrastructure and resources. When, and it's still happening, but when the manufacturing industry started to shift to robotics, everybody was thinking, oh my God, the robots are going to take my jobs, I'm going to lose my job. What truly happened was there's some folks that had to be retrained to program and operate the robots and load these robots, robotic cells. And we've got robots on site at Wilkes. We do some teaching with those robots to ensure that when a student leaves us, they have a basic foundation.
They've got some hands-on experience.
Yes, they've got some hands-on experience. Right. And it goes even further than that. When you talk about work-based learning and apprenticeship opportunities, we have apprenticeship opportunities that the student can come in or the company can reach out to us and say, hey, I'd like to establish an apprenticeship and in this particular program, needing these type of skills so the student can, I'll say, learn and earn at the same time.
Sure.
And, when we learn something and then we go directly apply it almost immediately, either that same day or the next day, what value does that add? It adds a lot more value than if I learn it today and
then wait 6 months.
6 months to use it. So, I can't say enough about the hands-on education. And I'll step back even further. And I don't want to only talk about the technical education piece because we play a large role in the transfer population. When you look at the success rate of the average student that starts out at a community college, completes a 2-year degree successfully, and then transfers to a 4-year university, they're pretty successful. And because we build that solid foundation. Carl, I don't know about you, but when I went to the university right out the gate, I wasn't ready. I had a great first year, and the grades showed it. Okay, I had a good time. I was out of the house, and years 2 through 5, actually, I had to buckle down, and I had to shift some focus. And that's where the community college shines and helps these students on transfer as well. The rigor of the curriculum is the same rigor that you're going to get starting out at a 4-year university. You talk about our early college, our CCP programming, concurrent enrollment. With the early college high school we have on campus, those folks are destined for success just as much as the students that are in skilled trades are destined for success. So I don't want to leave all of that out.
You got the whole table, right?
You do. We've got something for everybody.
And I think that's a great idea. Let me ask you this, because I think this is very important. The idea of critical thinking.
Yes.
Being able to truly reason based upon current reality.
Yes.
Critical thinking is a skill set that scares some people. It's intimidating even to instruct it because your students, maybe they had that in high school, maybe they didn't. So how do you tackle that? Because that is in huge demand from a workforce standpoint. So
I think you do it through ensuring the student is engaged, okay? And what I'm going to expand on that if I may.
Yeah, break it down.
So when we talk about critical thinking, you have to continue challenging that student. We all have to learn the foundational principles. We have to learn the fundamentals, and then we have to start applying those fundamentals. But once we get to a certain point, we have to, all right, well, let's troubleshoot. Let's think through the process. I don't care if you're a counselor. You have to troubleshoot. Okay, What do I say next? What do I not say? When do I sit back and listen? Take automotive, for example. Okay, when I get to a certain fork in the road, I have to think, okay, do I go this way or do I go that way? And what's connected? I look at it, critical thinking, as and honing that process. We do it through, I'll look at skill mastery, for example. I'm a big believer in skill mastery. Skill mastery comes once we learn a process and we learn a foundational process, we keep applying it, and we apply it in different ways. Carl, when you see a picnic table, what do you see?
I see a place to sit and eat.
Okay. I see a place to sit and eat. What else do you see?
Side, I see craftsmanship. I hope I see that.
Okay.
I want to sit down without a splinter or a scratch. If it's wood or if it's cement, I want it to be comfortable.
Okay. So you see a comfortable place to sit, comfortable place to eat, but you see the practicality of it, correct?
That's right.
So if we're doing our job right in critical thinking and we're doing our job right in the welding and fabrication program, and let's say we build a picnic table as a project, that student sees the same thing as that employer may see. You take an employer for someone like a Carolina West Wireless or Wilkes Communication, they come through and says, hey, that stainless steel picnic table, who built that? Well, our students built that. Oh, man, look at those fit-ups. Look at those weldments.
Right.
Look at those angles. That's the same thing they're going to be doing when they're building towers for us.
Right.
So they can take just a simple project such as a picnic table and think about how that transforms into those skills, transform into building a tower. You think about the way a tower's built. All right, tower starts out wide at the base. What's a picnic table do? Starts out wide at the base. Has its bracing, same way. So I use that example because I had a good friend of mine that runs a fabrication company. He came through and, former life, former institution, and he was looking. He walked me through that same process. That's how you teach critical thinking. How you can apply. And where do you need to go from here? And it's all through skill mastery and project-based learning.
Nice. Critical thinking certainly is part of that.
Absolutely. Right? It's a big part of that. Reasoning.
That's the thing. Yeah. If you want to be a valuable part of any company or your own, which arguably could be said that that's even more important that you have a better command of critical thinking.
Critical thinking and communication.
Communication, being able to talk through whatever, good, bad, indifferent. But it's that step up too, because critical thinking has layers to it, doesn't it? So talk a moment about that, because I think that is something that people yearn for without knowing they yearn for, because if we come to an employee or employer or a client and we provide a solution to that problem they have now, we look at it and say, oh, that's easy, we do this. They do it. Well, then they come back with a bigger problem.
Right.
And it requires, it's not something, I can figure it out, but it's going to take a minute, right? It might take a few days. So what are we doing to help instill that confidence, say, look, here's your basic critical thinking, but it's going to get deeper. It's going to get deeper. From my experience in broadcast or storytelling, sometimes we just have to think a bit more on how we're going to bring that story to. It's all there, but we have to think about the audience. We have to think about, written word, video, all of it, and then music to make you feel something.
Yes.
You got to think about, so building something is the same way, right?
Correct.
So is it in your stackable skills, are there layers? Can someone spend time at Wilkes Community College, at any of the campuses, learn something, and then continue to deepen their understanding, their critical thinking and problem-solving abilities within your environment, let's say they're never going to go, off to App State.
That's correct.
They just want to be the best plumber, the best heat and air guy, the best car guy. Yep. They want to be the best in town.
Yep.
Can you help them?
Yes, sir. And you start out and we talked about stackable credentials. Mm-hmm. You teach a base foundational level of that, and they get their certificate, and that certificate leads to employment. We know that.
Right.
But they can come back or stay with us, take that certificate, stack it into more advanced skills. So when we talk about skill levels, and we teach them a foundational skill, and let's look at their certificate a minute and that foundational skill. We can bridge that into a more advanced certificate. We can step that into a more advanced certificate once they've mastered that foundational level. It's just like building a house. You build a solid foundation, you can build it higher and you can build it wider, and you can continue going, and it can last a long time.
Right.
You build those foundational skills, you improve, you add on to those foundational skills, and they're woven together.
Within those people.
Within those people.
We're not talking about houses now. We're talking about human beings.
We're talking about in the human beings.
Right.
We take a higher level advanced certificate. We take a higher level advanced diploma. We move that into an associate's degree. Mm-hmm. But as those skill levels increase, the knowledge base increases. If you understand how something works, you can repair it. So right. We've got to develop that knowledge base on how it works. There's not enough time, not enough money in the world to take everybody to the highest level. Not everybody wants to get to the highest level. We understand that. But if we're focused on giving a solid, foundational, relevant credential that they can apply and go to work, we're teaching them to think. We're training them to grow and build upon that. They can come back to us and on the instruction side. But you mentioned, hey, I want to be the best at everything I do. But maybe I'm working. Maybe I can't come back to work because of the time on the instruction side. Or maybe I've completed the highest level of credential with that associate's degree. But I can come back to our workforce development group and again, continue growing those higher skill levels.
Lay some more, stack some more up.
You said it right then, and I want to focus on that word for a minute. The skills get laced together.
Right.
Okay? When we start lacing skills together, think about what we're doing for the student and think about what we're doing for the community. As I talk all the time about building a successful community, our people get laced together. They get connected.
Oh, sure they do.
You build a network. If you want to talk about education, you've got a network of folks you want to call and talk to. That network's going to connect you to another network of people because they're going to say, hey, you need to talk to this person. If you want to talk construction, if you want to talk racing, it's the same thing. You start growing your network. But as we start lacing those skills together, we start lacing our people together, we start lacing our community together. Have you seen a spider web?
Oh, yeah.
How strong is a spider web?
It's incredible. That little guy can just do all sorts of things. Yeah. And there's more than one of those guys, right? There are multiples. There are multiples.
Right. That's right.
So what you're talking about, it sounds to me like I like hearing a deeper part, but then I like to take it at the very simplest level. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about the access to making a stronger community by making the people stronger.
That's where community colleges shine, that access. If you think about the way the Grade 58 are designed, 58 community colleges across North Carolina, nobody should have to drive over 30 minutes to get a high-quality education. That's the way it's designed. I think it works well that way. But here, let's focus on Wilkes for a minute. When we're meeting that student where they are, did you know that we have career coaches in the high schools?
Sure.
We have career coaches in the high schools. You knew that. I knew that coming in, but a lot of people out here may not know that. What's that career coach doing in that high school? Are they just giving a student a schedule? No. They're following that student through to graduation. They're making sure that they're there. And they're there for what reason only? The teacher takes care of the education. That career coach is there for support.
Right.
Every successful person Has somebody behind them supporting them.
Push it along. Support going hand in hand, basically, right?
Hand in hand, pushing them along.
You can do this.
Stretching them.
Right.
You asked me before, how do we grow that critical thinking skill? And I want to come back to communication in a minute. But how do we grow that critical thinking skill? When we look at critical thinking, and if we want to grow that, we have to push that student. We have to lead that student. It's not a forced process. And sometimes it's a shoulder-to-shoulder process. When I think about the most successful welding programs out there, the trainers, the instructors, the faculty members, they're not standing back telling that student how a good weld should look and pushing that student to weld. The most successful ones, just like the ones we have here, we got a great example of one up in Allegheny County. And I won't take away from any of our instructors. But when you talk to our instructor up there, Mark Day, he's hand in glove with those students.
Oh, yeah. He's a
shoulder
great guy.
to shoulder. I mean, so that's how it all works.
Oh, sure.
And critical thinking's great, but I'll also say that communication is at the same level of critical thinking. These folks have to learn how to communicate. They have to communicate. We're communicating here. We're just having a conversation.
So what you're saying is the critical thinking is in here, and we've got to have the interpersonal capacity to engage with others, to utilize that knowledge, that critical thinking, because sometimes it can come across a little rigid if you don't know how to communicate with your fellow humans.
That is
correct.
correct.
What you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. So if you hire somebody to come out to your house, you hire a plumber.
Right.
If he does not know how to communicate with you properly, you're not going to be pleased, are you?
You really feel bad about writing that check. You do not want to give him $200 for 10 minutes.
Yes, you do.
Right.
And I'll tell you what Wilkes Community College, WCC, is looking at right now. As you know, we're going through a reaccreditation process. That's 10-year reaffirmation. It's no secret. We do
Everybody does it.
We've reached out to not only our students, our faculty, our staff, our board members, but we've reached out to the community, to our business and industry. And we're going to focus our QEP on communication.
That's great.
And when you think about communication, what do you think about? Oh, we're going to teach them how to write papers? No. That's part of it. Resume writing is a part of it. But that's not the sole focus. Communication is how you interact, as you just said, with the individual. Workplace communication. Workplace skills. The most skilled student, the most skilled employee, if they cannot communicate properly with their team members, they cannot communicate properly with their supervisor, are they going to be successful? We're going to focus on that. We're going to focus on that as an institution, and that's going to, right now, that's our focus of our new QEP that we're building.
I love that. I love that. So we've got critical thinking married together with what many of us grew up with, which was good Southern manners. I mean, we sit down and we just communicate, and we've got different opinions, different thoughts, but we don't get mad.
No.
We just, yeah, that's what Bob thinks. He's a little off there, but that's all right. Bob has got his value.
Yeah. Everybody has.
That's right.
You make a good point. Every student coming in our door has a value. We've got to show them how high that value is. We've got to pull that out of them. And that's what community college is. That's what Wilkes is designed to do.
That's great. Well, Dr. Rodgers, this has been great. This is your first visit. 10 days in. Why don't we do this? Why don't we visit monthly for the next few months?
Sure.
And let's keep evolving the story. And then we'll come back with some examples.
Sure,
right? With
absolutely.
Some of the critical thinking skills, and maybe we can loop in some of the people that actually have businesses and can talk about how important it is that we come out and walk into the workforce being reasonably balanced.
That's a good point, Carl. I like that. Yeah. Let's do that, and let's find a time, if you don't mind. I've seen you out at the college already. Let's get out and talk to some students and see exactly in a few months how we're doing.
That's a great idea.
They'll be back in August, so we'll meet before then.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll set up some time to get in front of our faculty and our students, and we'll
And that'll be great.
We'll show the community what we're doing.
I look forward to being back at the college. My last time there was for a groovy experience for the 60s.
Did you have a good time?
At the Walkerson. It was great. It was great. We didn't even talk about it. We don't have time now to get into this, but I talked with Tabitha, your director at the theater, and it was great. And we did talk about Merle Fest, and I don't know. I got to thinking about why you came here. I said, wait, I bet he loves music.
I do love music.
What better gig to have? What better gig to have is to to lead an educational agenda in a growing community, and then also have some of the nation's best musicians come to your back door.
That's exactly right.
Put on a show for you.
We'll close it out with this, and I'll leave you with this. Everybody asked me during the interview, well, why do you want to come to Wilkes? Well, why not Wilkes?
Right.
Because when you look at the foundation that's been laid by the people before me and the leaders before me, Dr. Cox is doing a great job. He's done a great job here. Look what he's doing at the system level. Why not come to Wilkes? Our strategic plan that we've just completed, we're getting ready to embark on a new strategic plan, getting ready to go through a reaffirmation. We're getting ready to develop a brand new QEP. I mean, and the team that we have and the community support, Carl, you can learn a lot by looking at a place, looking at a facility, looking at an organization in the late fall or early winter.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's put together well in the late fall or early winter, just think about what you're going to see come springtime. If you see the campus, and you ride through the campus right now, the flowers are blooming and it's beautiful. That's what I was able to see in December, just by the pride that was put into that organization. And not there, but just asking people, stopping at the local Sit-Go, stopping at the 50s Diner. I walked in, jeans, boots, and a pullover, and nobody knew me from Adam. And I was just listening and asking, hey, what do you think about that little school up there on the hill? And the pride of this community, why not Wilkes? I'm glad to be here. I'm excited.
Sure.
Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Look forward to seeing you as well. Let me ask you one question. This is where we're going out. When you stopped at the 50s Diner,
yes,
were you driving your pickup?
I was. I was.
All right, you're in the perfect place. He's got a pickup. He loves old cars. Oh, you're home.
I am home. Carl, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Great seeing you. Thanks, folks. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Life in Wilkes.
Thank you for spending time with us on Life in Wilkes. We value you as a viewer and appreciate when you share the show with your friends and family. Be sure to bookmark our channel and join us again on the next episode of Life in Wilkes.